How to look smart at work.
That's right. For early career folks, perhaps like you listening, who are trying to figure out things like visual communication at work, less about deep foundational design principles and more about here's how to make a presentation slide look good quickly for a meeting.
Or like, use this template to appear professional without spending hours on formatting, that kind of thing.
Exactly that. It's intensely outcome focused for that corporate environment. Today we're tackling something I think a lot of people run into. You know when you've made a slide, maybe a report page, or just an update,
Yeah.
and there's hardly anything on it, like a title, a few bullet points,
Mm-hmm.
but you look at it and just think, why does this still look so messy? Or, I don't know, just busy.
Oh, absolutely. It's a super common frustration, especially now, right? So many of us are creating visual stuff for work.
Right, presentations,
Yeah.
updates for remote teams.
Exactly. And maybe you don't have a design background. You're just trying to get your point across clearly.
Yeah, you want your ideas to land, look polished, not like you just, threw some text on a page.
You want that confidence, that clarity, make your work stand out a bit, maybe,
No,
but without needing a whole design course.
precisely. So, based on the great sources you pulled together for this,
Yeah, some good articles, guides.
our mission today is to really unpack why that minimal stuff can still feel cluttered.
And pull out the most useful, practical tips, layout tricks from those sources that anyone listening can use, like, right away.
Make things clearer, more confident, fast. Okay, let's get into it.
Let's do it.
So first off, validation. If you've made that slide, that simple slide, title, few bullets, and it just felt off.
You are definitely not alone. The sources we looked at, they totally back this up. It's a real thing.
And the key takeaway, right off the bat, seems to be that this busyness, it's not really about how much stuff is on the page.
Not fundamentally, no. It nearly always comes down to how it's all arranged, the layout.
Okay, so what makes it look noisy then, even with lots of white space?
Well, the material points to a few usual suspects. Things like inconsistent spacing.
Yep.
Gaps are all different sizes.
Right.
Font sizes maybe seem a bit random, or there's just no clear system for them.
Right.
Alignment is another big one. Things just aren't lined up properly. Weak alignment, or none at all.
Just sort of floating there.
Pretty much. And it all comes down to making lots of little decisions in isolation, these sort of micro decisions about where things go, without an overall plan.
Huh. There was a really good analogy in one of the articles that compared it to a room.
Oh, the clean room one? Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, like imagine a room that's perfectly clean, no clutter at all.
Spotless.
But every chair, every table is just slightly crooked, not lined up with anything.
Right. Everything's at a weird angle to everything else.
It's not cluttered, but it feels chaotic, unsettling.
That's exactly it. That's the feeling you get from the slide or the document. When the arrangement lacks intention, it's visually noisy.
So what's the underlying reason? The sources must point to a root cause for that chaos.
They do, and it boils down to a lack of something called visual hierarchy.
Okay, visual hierarchy. Sounds a bit like design jargon, maybe.
Yeah.
What does it actually mean for, regular folks making slides?
Yeah, it can sound technical, but the core idea is simple. It's basically how you arrange things on the page to tell the viewer's brain what to look at first.
Okay. What's the most important piece of information? And how are different bits of information connected or related? It's like giving their eyes a map, guiding their understanding without them even thinking about it.
Exactly. You're doing the work for their brain.
So how do we build that map? How do we create that hierarchy? The sources mention some core principles, right?
Yeah, drawing from basic design principles. The first one is super intuitive, size.
Bigger things seem more important. Makes sense.
Totally. Then there's weight. Think bold text, thicker lines.
They stand out more.
Right, they're visually louder, as one source put it. They grab your attention more than lighter elements.
Louder. I like that. Okay, size, weight. What about spacing?
Spacing is crucial if you put related things closer together.
They look like they belong together, like a group.
Exactly. It creates a visual connection. And conversely, putting more space between groups of things clearly separates them, shows their different ideas.
So the empty space, the white space, isn't just empty, it's actually doing a job.
It's absolutely a tool, a powerful one for grouping and clarity. And the last big one they highlighted is alignment.
Aligning things up.
Yeah. When you align text, images, whatever, along a clean, straight edge, it instantly makes everything feel organized, tidy, structured.
Or trustworthy even, maybe.
It does. It imposes that order on the potential chaos we talked about, makes it feel intentional.
Okay, size, weight, spacing, alignment. These build the hierarchy. So what happens if you mess this up? If the hierarchy is weak?
Well, according to the research we looked at, the viewer's brain basically has to work overtime.
How so?
It has to consciously figure out, okay, where should I look first? What's the main point here? How do these bullets relate to the title?
Ah, so the brain is doing the organizing job that the slide should have done.
Precisely. And that extra effort, that cognitive load, is what makes the slide feel tiring, confusing, busy, even if there's hardly any text on it.
That makes so much sense. And one of the guides you shared had this brilliant concrete example. Let's walk through that.
Yeah, the quarterly results one, perfect illustration.
Okay, so picture a slide. The title says, Quarterly Results Update.
Simple enough.
And below it, just 3 bullet points. Something like sales increased by 12%, customer churn dropped by 9%, and launched new product in APAC.
Right, very minimal content. You couldn't really cut much more.
But in the problem version they show, the heading, Quarterly Results Update, is the exact same font size as the bullet points underneath it.
No difference in importance signaled by size.
And the bullets are just kind of there,
yeah.
maybe left aligned, but the indents are all slightly off, like someone just hit tab differently each time.
Yeah, just typed in without much thought to structure. The source called it a pile of words.
A pile of words, that's perfect, because that's how it feels. There's no structure telling my eye where to go. Is the title most important? Are the bullets? It's just flat and confusing.
Exactly right. Now, using the exact same words, the solution version applies those hierarchy principles we talked about.
Okay, no changes.
First, the heading quarterly results update is way bigger, like maybe 40-point font and bold.
Instantly clear.
Yeah.
That's the title.
No question. Then the bullet points are smaller, say 24-point. Still readable, but clearly subordinate.
Okay.
And crucially, the spacing between the bullet points is consistent, even.
Ah, like neat little blocks of text. And I think they also bolded the first word of each bullet, like increased, dropped, launched.
Right. Yes. Using weight strategically right there within the bullet to highlight the key action or result draws the eye immediately to the important verb.
Nice little touch. But what about the alignment?
That's maybe the most dramatic visual change. In the solution version, the left edge of everything, the big heading, all 3 bullet points lines up perfectly straight.
Like you held a ruler against the screen.
Exactly what the source said. Like running a ruler down the left side creates this super strong vertical line.
Wow. Okay, so same content, same 3 facts, same title. But just making the title obviously bigger and bold, using a smaller, consistent size for the bullets, consistent spacing, maybe bolding the action word.
And lining everything up perfectly on one side.
Suddenly, it feels totally different. It feels intentional, calm, clear, not busy at all.
That's the hierarchy and structure doing their job. You've given the brain a clear path. Title first, then scan the organized points. The cognitive load just drops.
It feels clean because my brain isn't working so hard.
You got it.
Okay, this is super practical. So boiling it down from all the sources, what are the absolute must-do, actionable tips someone listening can use right now? Open their PowerPoint, their Google Slides, whatever.
Yeah, what can they apply immediately? The sources give a really solid checklist. Tip 1, maybe the easiest win. Use fewer font sizes.
Fewer font sizes.
Yeah, seriously. Aim for just 2 max if you can. 1 size for your main headings, 1 size for your body text or bullets. That's it. Stop the temptation to use 5 different sizes on one slide.
Okay, 2 sizes. That does simplify things. What's next?
Tip 2, make your headings obviously louder than the text below them.
Bigger and bolder, like in the example.
Exactly. They're the signposts. They need to stand out clearly so people know what the upcoming chunk of information is about.
Makes sense. Tip 3.
Align everything on one side. This goes back to that ruler example.
Which side? Doesn't matter.
The sources strongly recommend left alignment, especially for text-heavy slides. It creates that strong vertical line we talked about, and it matches how most Western audiences read, scanning down the left. It's predictable for the eye.
Okay, force that left alignment. Got it. Tip 4.
Use spacing intentionally. Think about the gaps. Don't just hit enter a random number of times. Add consistent, even space around related chunks of text or images, like building blocks with clear boundaries.
Using space to separate the different ideas visually.
Right. Which leads perfectly to tip 5. Group related ideas together visually, and echoing what we said earlier, don't be afraid of white space.
Embrace the void.
Yeah. That empty space isn't wasted, it's active. It gives your important content room to breathe, makes things scannable, and it really helps reinforce those visual groupings you made with spacing.
This all ties together so well. It's really shifting the focus from just cutting words to actually designing the structure, even for simple things.
Absolutely. Editing for structure is just as important, maybe sometimes more important, than editing for length when it comes to clarity.
So the big takeaway from all this material is clarity isn't just about less stuff.
No, it's about organizing the stuff. You do have the words, the images, the data in a way that guides the eye and helps the brain process it easily.
And if your slide or report feels busy, even when it's minimal, chances are it's a hierarchy and structure problem.
Overwhelmingly, yes. Not a too much content problem.
And the good news here, the really encouraging part for the sources is that you don't need to become a pro designer.
Not at all. Just applying these, pretty straightforward layout principles, manage those font sizes, make headings clear, align things consistently, use space and grouping well.
That can instantly make your work look and feel cleaner, more professional, more
Yeah.
confident.
Exactly, because you're working with how people naturally read and process visual information based on these well-established principles.
Okay, so final thought for everyone listening.
Okay.
A little challenge, maybe.
Let's hear it.
Open up a presentation you made recently, or a report,
Yeah.
anything visual, and look at it only through this lens we've been discussing, visual hierarchy.
Forget the content for a second. Just look at the structure.
Yeah. Can you instantly tell what's most important? Can you see the visual groups? Does your eye know where to go?
Or does it feel a bit like that clean room, but with all the furniture slightly askew?
Right. Does it feel just a little bit chaotic? Now, think about applying just one or two of these tips we covered.
Like just fix the alignment or make the headings bigger.
Exactly. Just try one thing. See how much clearer that visual becomes almost immediately, from potentially chaotic to clear and confident.